yeah, I think we should talk about Skyler for a minute.
I keep hearing that I'm supposed to hate Skyler, but so far, based upon what I know the other characters and especially Walter doing, it's so like I get the flirtation and going back to I get the kind of going back to Beneke, but so far there hasn't been any actualization. So I know apparently I'm supposed to hate her as much. So far, it's like, boy, I think she's actually being the smartest and the wisest in the way she reacts right now. If I'm supposed to hate her, I need somebody to define that for me.
I wonder. I don't know. I kind of hope that maybe that's the Walt apologists that hate Skyler so much. I'm hoping that that's how it goes. In that I'll be able to say like she hasn't always done the exact right thing, and I might be slightly spoiled for some choices that she makes in upcoming seasons, but I'm not sure that those would make me have the vitriol that seems to be thrown at her character. So we'll
Skyler,
we'll see how it goes. But yeah, right now she's absolutely a victim of her husband's deceit.
With Skyler, I think, we got to talk about it, because that is a big part of this show, is how much people hate Skyler. And I agree, Kat. I think that a lot of it are the Walt apologists, and maybe this is a good example. I'm going to step on some toes here. I think that this is what it looks like to be a mindless consumer. If you watch this show and you think, well, he's the protagonist, so he's the good guy, and she's the antagonist to him at times. She's the force that opposes him, so she's the bad guy. Okay. I mean, is it really that simple? Of course not. Have you never watched a show where the protagonist was the bad guy before? Maybe for some people, this was their first experience with that. It was probably my most involved experience with that, but early on. But yeah, I think people are just far too willing to say, well, the show told me that that's the good guy, so that's the good guy. And anyone who opposes him, that's the bad guy. No, in this case, what would you do if you were a wife and you find out that your husband has been lying to you all of these months, and you can't even figure out exactly what it is that he's keeping from you? And so anytime he confronts you and says, well, what is it you say that I'm doing wrong? You have nothing to say to that. I mean, I think that I agree, with the exception of some of the Ted stuff and the Marilyn Monroe thing. I think that most of her actions were pretty well justified insofar as we are at this point, end of season 2. At this point, I agree. There's an awful lot of people that just hated her early on, and she is a bit abrasive, and she has some kind of whiny moments in the first season, but really we get past that to the point where she's trying to hold the family together in a way that Walt's supposed to be doing, and he's failing to do that.
It's like she could smell something's wrong, right? She can't quite put her finger on it, but she knows her husband. They've been married for a very long time. She knows something's off. And then as he gets weirder and squirrelier, she knows he's hiding something. She knows she's not an idiot, but she can't quite put her finger on it. And it's frustrating then to be engaged with someone who is so good at lying and manipulating things.
Gaslighting.
Yeah.
Anyone?
I mean, yeah, you want to talk gaslighting, right? Where then you do start to feel like, am I imagining it? And yet, you're not, but it's so hard to then nail down exactly what the person's done, exactly what's wrong, exactly where the lie is, what have they been untrue about. And some of them are so slight or so small that it almost seems like, am I making a mountain out of a molehill? And then of course the person that you're accusing will tell you, you're absolutely making a mountain out of a molehill. And
we're talking about a guy who walked into a drug dealer's place with like explosives and like blew a wall off. Like this is not a molehill. This is a mountain.
It's not. And yet she doesn't have the whole truth yet, right? She doesn't have the whole truth, but she can tell something's wrong. Like she knows stuff doesn't add up, but she can't quite put her finger on it or figure it out. And
honestly, this is where I think I've been in pastoral situations with this in a few categories where people are like, well, you can't prove something, so you have to absolutely it's like, wait, you know what? Sometimes like the spirit's intuition to walk away is totally fine. That's why, like, she leaves it. She's like, now she's at a point, like Skylar's at a point. She's like, I don't even want you. Like, I'm scared to know what it is. I know it's sick and wrong enough that I just need to remove myself And I don't even know. And like, there's times just like it'd be like telling a parent, if you can't 100% prove that this person is creepy and could be a child molester, you just have to have them let unfettered alone time with your kid. No, you don't. Right? That like sometimes you have to make calls based
there's
upon
discernment, like this
upon spiritual discernment.
Yeah, there's actual spiritual discernment that can come into play, and that's what's happening with her. She knows, like you can tell something is wrong, off. He is deceitful. He is lying. I can't figure it out.
We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of popcorn theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.